We're going to look at solving two-step equations. This is something you did back in algebra. If you're not strong with these skills, you're going to struggle in this section for geometry. So that's why we're going over this. That's why we're working on these problems. So we have to solve each equation for the variable. This number 1 says that 6 is equal to a divided by 4 plus 2. That's how you would read that. You want to get a by itself. Before you can do that, you need to get a divided by 4 by itself. So you need to remove this guy from the right side. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Six minus 2 is 4. The a over 4 isn't affected. 2 minus 2, those cancel. So now we have a simpler equation. 4 is equal to a divided by 4. You want a by itself, so we're going to undo this operation. This is division, so we're going to multiply both sides by this number. And when you do that, these 4's cancel. So you're left with a by itself. A equals 16. Now, if you understood this problem with the star, you should be able to figure out how to do every single problem that has a star. You solve it the same way in the same order. Okay, so we'll move on to a different type of problem. We'll look at number 3. 9 times x minus 7 equals negative 7. We want to get x by itself. Before we can do that, we need 9x by itself. So we're going to add 7 to both sides. That'll give you 9x on the left side, because those terms cancel. And on the right side, we have a negative 7 plus 7, which we know is 0. Those cancel as well. If you wanted to cross those out, you could. But the number that's left over here is 0. Now, to undo your multiplication, you need to divide by that same number. And 0 divided by 9 is 0. You can always check your work. We didn't do that on the previous example. We probably should have. If you think that a is 16 for number 1, you should plug in and double check. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Plus 2 gives you 6. So I'll circle my answer. Put a little check mark there because we checked, we plugged back in and saw that that was the solution. So we can do the same thing here. We could take 9 times 0, which is 0, and subtract 7, gives you negative 7. And that's equal to that negative 7 on the right side. Let's try a different type of problem. We'll try this one that's circled. So that number 6 there looks like that's the same type of deal. We want to get v by itself. Before we can do that, we need v plus 9 by itself. So we want to clear this fraction here. So to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by 3. And that'll cancel those 3's. So we'll get v plus 9 equals 24. We could double check that that's the answer. 15 plus 9 is 24. 24 divided by 3, that's 8. So any problem that has a circle on it is solved pretty much the same way. So make sure you take your time, maybe do all of the circle problems, because they're all done this way. Practice that skill. Number 8 has a triangle on it. We have a number times a quantity. 2 times the quantity, n plus 5, equals -2. When you have a number outside a quantity, you can distribute, and that would give you 2n plus 10 equals -2. But here's a neat trick as well. This is 2 times a quantity, and you want that quantity by itself, so you could just divide both sides by that number instead of multiplying through. And what will happen is you'll end up with a simpler looking equation after one step. We'll subtract 5 from both sides. And you end up with -6. We can double check this. -6 plus 5 is -1. -1 times 2 is -2. Okay, so we did a star problem, we did a problem that didn't have any marking, we did a circle problem, we did a triangle problem. Not sure if there's anything on the back that's different. Looks like we have some square problems. Look at those. Actually, the square problem is a whole lot like number 3. Okay, so number 3, let's put a little box around it right now. We kind of did that problem already. So go through and do all of your star problems. Get used to doing it that way. Then switch over to your square problems, so on and so forth. If you have any other questions with this, or you want to see me do a couple more, just send me a message.